Hi everybody, this is Joker King, and I'm going to show you kind of a real tour on everything. Kind of give you guys, I didn't really give you a good start to everything, and I figured this would be the best way for you to see how I like to play and everything that's been going on. So recently I've been working on like a nuclear power plant. So what you see right here is water extractors that I gathered. This is just like a portion of what I really needed for my nuclear power plant. But I've worked on so much more for this. I've also gathered 5,100 nitrogen for this project and other stuff you see around here, and I like to show a lot of detail. So like my train station you see there, how it's built up, but it's on the ground still. Everything's piped 90s or doing perfect turns. I want everything to look really good for you guys. I've also built this power shard plant factory that once I made 60 power shards per minute, I decided to turn it also into an iodized field power plant. So this is my power shard power plant. It's not completely done with the design, but I decided to go to the other projects. Ignore the lighting, but now that you guys see what I'm wanting to do, and what I have planned for the future, and that I actually plan on making good designs that are at least good in my eyes, let me show you everything, and I'll show you right where I started everything. This is where I actually started everything. I chose this part of the map, and the reason why I chose it is because it has pretty much everything. It has concrete, iron, coal, copper, has some sulfur. Actually no, I don't think it does, but it has quartz that's all the way over there that I needed just for all of this. And what you see now, everything is destroyed, and now it's becoming a nuclear power plant, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna have to be way bigger than this platform. But this is just kind of a start on how I decided to work on everything. But maybe I should show you what everything looked like before I destroyed it and turned it into any of this. This is how big it was before I even started going nuclear. It was pretty small. See, I had a little power plant section I did over there, and there wasn't even water that was extracted over on close to the mountain cliff over there. But this is where I built everything. I had in the middle my space elevator that was right here, and I moved everything into this miniature storage place over here. And my whole thought process behind all of that was I was going to make everything here. I was going to play a small game, build everything, put it here, and then voila. But I decided to change everything. I decided to become a bigger Let's Play Satisfactory guy. And for the longest time, I would stream what I was doing, but then that didn't satisfy me. I wanted to actually record and show you guys the stuff that I wanted to build, that I wanted to do, show you my image of Satisfactory. And I watched a YouTuber called ImKibitz, sorry, for the longest time. He was the one that showed me what you can do, that all the cool things you can make. And that's why that you're gonna see I built my frame factory in the same place as my main base, because I was just going off of his ideas, his imagination. I gathered all the aluminum over here going to my main base. I built a power plant factory over there, but I wasn't satisfied. And why I wasn't satisfied was because I was still going off of his ideas, his way of how the game should be. And I wanted to change that. That's why I started recording and show you guys my image. And that's why everything that is my idea starting when I started recording will still follow his idea. But how I'm gonna build, how I'm gonna decide to do things is all my eyes, my idea, my image. And like I did in the last episode, I at him, and I want you guys to follow him and watch him and see all the cool things he does. Because without him, I wouldn't have my content that I have now. He's honestly one of the best Satisfactory guys. I think they're all good. I found so many Satisfactory YouTubers that I recommend watching. For example, Sir Crab. He's a very small YouTuber that I actually like. He's probably younger than me, to be honest. But I liked his idea on his power plant, and that's why I took his idea but made my own image. Now that I'm back on my main actual save, I'll go over here and show you guys this fuel power plant that I made. And this is a little bit different from Kibitz when I was still kind of taking his image of everything, because the big difference is it doesn't look good. This is when I still was trying to figure out how I wanted everything to look, and I even stopped making it and I went to other projects because again I wasn't getting my satisfaction of enjoying completely my build because I was going off of his ideas. No shame to him because I love his ideas, but I didn't see any purpose when it wasn't my image. I did go upscale from him. I think he did 150 50 fuel generators, but I did 200, I think. I could be wrong, but it was a little bit more than his. But you see how like none of this looks really good? It's all wonky. There's so much open space, nothing going on. I don't even know what I was doing there. The only thing that I'm really happy about this whole fuel power plant that I made is when you go through here, let me turn on my light. When you go through here, I actually tried to make my own design, and when I did, it actually looks good. I had satisfaction of making my own image on how this little building making all the compact coal should be. When I still wasn't really good at making my own design yet, I made this red, not very kid-friendly looking thing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well then that's good. Keep your mind out of the gutter. I made this, and this is like supposed to be where, I can't remember the name at the moment, but this is where the control center, that's what it is, the control center, how everything should be. And I wanted to make extra quartz and stuff that I needed at the time because I didn't have an automation for it. So I made the automation here, moved everything, made all the crystal stuff that I needed, had a sink here if these got too full. I did this thing here, don't know why I did it. And in here, I made kind of like a power storage center that Kibitz actually kind of did on his own too, but he made it look a lot better than I did. And this was still when I was trying to figure out what kind of design I wanted to do. I built this stairway going all the way up. I made my own type of design for that stairway up into this room, which was supposed to be able so you can look out everything. And I liked this room over here just because I like how there's actual pillars and frames and metal beams going down. To have the realism of it's having a good structure. And I didn't have any jetpacks at the time, so you can see that I did this. So I had fun making it, but like I said, I'm not having as much fun as I had now when I started making my nuclear power plant. Because I'm not just recording it and you guys can see it. I'm making my own idea, my own way of what I think a nuclear power plant should look like. And even though I'm still planning, I'm still doing everything. And yes, my numbers on all my builds are very close to Kibitz. And my next playthrough will be completely different. You have to start somewhere, and I took the best person that I thought would be good to follow, and that was Kibitz. Now that we're done with that, I'll take you over to some of my aluminum train stations that I made over time, and I built this train track going all the way around, even though this side's never used because of how train systems work. All my train stations, I put its own unique design in some ways. I don't like train stations looking the exact same. That's why that one looks way different than this one. After I gathered everything, and you can tell this is when I started caring about how things looked. I built this kind of floating structure, cliff hanging train station, and I thought it looked so good. And this is just a beginning of all my train stations that I've designed and put some effort, and close to the end you'll tell that I didn't try as hard, and I won't show you a lot of that. This is just a real tour, a basic idea on how I like to build. This is another kind of hovering design that I made for a train station that's hanging over the edge of a cliff that I got from over there. And this one's for my nuclear power plant. And I try very hard to make everything float, or at least make it not float. I try very hard to make everything look good and make it somehow make sense a little bit. And I almost just died there. Wow, that was a little scary. But now that we got this kind of situated on how I like to do train station, and you can see it's pretty simple how I like to do it. I like to just have buffers, so when this is loading, that these buffers can still get filled up, and there won't be any just stop in production or flowing into the buffers. Yeah, that's how I like to do these. They're pretty simple. They just take me a little bit to design it, but I try not to go too hard in the design because I don't want people to mainly focus on that and focus on everything getting gathered around it. And as you guys saw at the beginning of the video, this is my power shard power plant. And I'm going to show you this, and then after I show you this, I'll show you my main base over there, and that's where this video will leave off. So and like I said, I wasn't done making the design on this, but this is more my unique design, which is why I put a lot more effort in this. I got really excited to build a nuclear power plant that I decided to haul this off and go do something else. If you guys want me to finish this, have a whole tour on it, and I will, but I got the interior pretty much done. I guess I'll start you down here because I haven't made a door for this yet. Actually, as you can see here, I'm probably going to turn down the game volume so it's not so loud. This is making time crystals, quartz, and that stuff that I can't remember what it's called. Dark matter crystals is what it's actually called. But anyways, you mix those together and it'll make power shards. And a lot of production over here, everything gets moved around because I wanted there to be flow. I wanted everything going up, down, left, right, stuff moving around, not just like here is the basic part, upstairs is something different. I didn't want to do that. So I made this little floor right here so we can look under there and see and make sure everything's flowing correctly. This is making the turbo fuel, and this is making just the quartz that I need. That's some of the turbo fuel being packaged. This is my compact coal, which I made a pretty good unique way to make sure that all of this can be connected. And I use the elevator and splitters that I never really used till this because I never had a good reason to use those, but I'm glad I got to use it for the 1.1 update. After we go through all this, the turbo fuel will be sent up. That's actually not turbo fuel, that is the refined oil that's being dropped down and going into to make these turbo fuel. The turbo fuel will get jumped up and go over to the top part, which I have you guys know that took me forever to do. All these holes are pretty much supposed to be like when the light gets shot up from these quantum encoders, it will go through the holes and go up. But as you can see here, it doesn't continue to do that because I have fuel generators up there now. But this is the basic idea on what I had for this. And in the middle, I have this cool design that makes all the time crystals that you see over here. Some of it might be for different stuff. Actually, the one in there isn't for the time crystals, but everything around it is for the time crystals. And I made a little door that opens up that the train will go through. We'll ride right through these particle accelerators and then go straight out there where it'll unload. We'll go through here, and this is where now the rocket fuel gets made. Actually, this isn't rocket fuel because rocket fuel gets made up there. Turbo fuel gets jumped up and goes to the rocket fuel, and then the rocket fuel will go over here, drop down, and make iodized fuel, which needs power shards and rocket fuel to make iodized fuel, which I click on here just to make sure that this production line is going good, and it is. It's not supposed to be full, so that's good. And this is pretty much supposed to be full, but it's not quite, which is fine. Check, see the oil's going good, and this, which they're both working pretty good. We go through here, and this so we could check out this side, which this makes all the plastic that I need for my containers that I use for my packagers, actually, that go down there and package my turbo fuel. This is just to make sure I'm doing 60 per minute, which it looks like 60 per minute. And I probably should have turned all of this to the Mark 1 belt, and maybe I will in the future, but for now it's not. Maybe it'll look nicer if I did. But anyways, let's go through here, and we're gonna go take this elevator that goes up to the last floor that actually makes the rocket fuel. As you can see, I tried my best to make sure that these pipes look as good as they can. And it's hard when you have 3 liquids going into here. Actually, it's a gas and a liquid that makes another gas. So there you go. But pretty much it's turbo fuel and nitric acid that turns into rocket fuel, and we get a little bit of compact coal, which goes back through the system for the turbo fuel, because turbo fuel needs compact coal. So it kind of is nice. I didn't have to use as much coal for that because it already takes plenty of coal to make time crystals. The nitric acid is actually right here. Got the nitrogen gas coming in. It goes up into this little section right here that makes nitric acid, which is what I need for all that over there. I'll show you what the back part looks like, and it's nothing too crazy, right? Like there's still some floating stuff over there, which won't be the same for the nuclear power plant that I'll make. I have buffers that go into the train stations and out from the train stations, and that just saves my butt for future problems. And as you can see, I have a lot of coal that I need, some SAM, quartz, sulfur, and more coal. That is all that I need. I need oil, coal, sulfur, quartz, SAM, and a lot more coal. And some water, but that's also really easy to gather. After the iodized fuel is made, it'll go into all of these fuel power plants, which really isn't super efficient. I think it makes me 100 megawatts of power, but it uses like 50,000 megawatts to make it. But if you're wondering how much power I have in total, this is my power. I can use 191,000 or 992, it jumps. But I can use a lot of power. My max consumption is 165. Now that we're done talking about that power plant, let's go over and talk about my main base, which looks super ugly. And this was another Kibitz idea where he loaded stuff and went in here. I did a really bad job because, like I said, I was making his image, not mine. So I didn't have all that satisfaction making it, which I'm not, like I said again, I'm not judging him. I think what he did was a really good job and idea. And he went a lot farther than I did with mine. But this is where my main power plant started, and I chose this desert just because, well, I like the desert. I think it looks really cool. All this is more for show because you have trucks that aren't very smart, or not smart at all, actually. But I chose left-hand traffic, and the reason why, because in real life, mines are left-hand traffic. Every truck will be. And that's so you don't have cab-on-cab collision. Which is funny, I know, goofy, I don't have to worry about that in this game. Well, poop. Anyways, you don't have to worry about stuff like that in this game. So all the stuff gets loaded onto here, as you can see. And then we'll go through this door right here. That goes into all this, which this is more space for production that I have gonna go on later on. I don't know what for yet, but this room is just ready for it. Once all that gets loaded up here, which is a weird mess, but ignore that. It gets sent through here into my huge train station area that's over here, and I just stop here because I'm not done designing this place at all, like at all. But as I come up here, you're gonna see that I have my rubber factory that's down here. Most that you see here, this is actually for my aluminum, but on the inside isn't, and I'll show you that in a second. But this is rubber. This is making all my fuel, which gets sent up here and makes my rubber and plastic. And I use a cool little trick, not really a trick, it's just an alternate recipe, that the rubber needs some plastic and fuel, and it'll make more rubber. And then the plastic needs more rubber and fuel to make plastic. So what you do is you half that, and you mix them together, and you make a lot more rubber and plastic. And if you're probably wondering what this is up here, this is another Kibitz idea that I might use for every save that I have. I'm not gonna lie, because I love the idea. I might just make it look a lot better and put it in a different place from my control center. Before I touch my control center, let's show you kind of the little design I have going on over here. I have a lot of water that is needed for the fuel because it uses fuel, uses water and heavy oil residue. I called it refined oil over there earlier. I meant heavy oil residue. But anyways, that makes fuel, and over here is where pretty much all of my heavy oil residue is getting built for my alumina solution, or my aluminum factory in general, and my oil factory. And this is kind of the nice design that I started making because I want everything to look as good as it can, and I want to be everything in sector rooms. So like this is its own room, and this will be its own room, and I'll just do that so it kind of looks nicer. I'll have paths that go in here and go everywhere, and I haven't done it yet because I want to get this room and that room completely done before I decide to start placing walkways, because I never know when I might have to delete them. Maybe I should make walkways, so I have to find a way to maneuver through them, and maybe I will do that. If you guys are wondering, I'm making 12,300 aluminum per minute. And I added these black and white lines. So the black one represents the rubber, the white one represents the aluminum. So that means when I go to my control center over there, I can turn off my aluminum if something's completely wrong, which most of the time I won't want to, because my aluminum is for my frame factory and my nuclear power plant, which most of my frame factory is for my nuclear power plant in general anyways. So like I said, I probably will never turn that off, but I added priority switches. I guess now I could take you to my 3rd floor, or I don't even know what floor that is, to be honest, but I could take you to that floor over there and show you what exactly I have going on there. And as you can see, this was another Kibitz idea that I'm going to do way different in the future. I like the idea that this is busy going up and down, and I made it way bigger. Alright, so we go through here, and we have our storage and hub area over here. We have the start text here, that's over there, and we have our power center control that's over there. In the power center, it's kind of pretty scary looking cables. I know what it's doing, you guys don't though. This is another example of I didn't put a lot of pride in it, but here's this, and I have to walk through here to grab this. It was really stupid. Like I said, my next playthrough won't be so stupid. For now on, I'll try to make everything look as good as possible. But here, this is my basic production, and it's actually over there, and I'll explain more about that in a second. This is main base. Main base is my aluminum and rubber, and so much going on after that. I have plenty of wiggle room to mess with stuff, and all of it goes up here, goes that way. So now you know kind of the control center. Let me take you over here to just my basic production of everything, and I call this just basic production. Basic production means this makes everything I need for my dimensional depot and my storage, just in case I need to grab oodles of certain material. But as you can see, it's kind of ugly. Nothing clips, but nothing's perfect. It moves everywhere, does nasty stuff like that. That's pretty disgusting, but that's okay. Because the whole point of this is to not be perfect, is to not be efficient either. It's just I can get my resources when I need, when I build. So that you can see most of the time it's not actually running. In fact, everything's built up, which took forever when I first built this to have everything back up. You can actually see like the production and then how much I learned later on, because at first that was basic, and the more we go over here, the more complex everything gets. So then we can go over here, which I turned my particle accelerator into Caterium design because I thought that looked really good, and all these. Apparently Caterium makes everything look really good, so that's why I did that. So this is my basic production. It's just where everything's getting built, everything's getting made in some way. And no, none of it looks good or perfect, but that's the whole point of this. I don't want it to be perfect, and I'll say that about 10 more times if I have to. I will not go back. I will not make it better. Okay, I might change that. This is just where everything's gonna be built that I need, just in case when things go south and I need a lot of parts of something. But in my priority, this is my lowest priority. If power had to shut down somewhere, it can shut down here. It don't need to be here. It's fine. Ooh, hi there. Now that we go through here, which this was just like an idea of just we can check this stuff out. Look over here, that goes into storage, and a lot of it goes through there and goes to the other side of the storage. But this is where all my storage is. This is where all my power shards are, which I have a lot more power shards than I'll ever need in this game. You just see it has everything. So if we need to hurry, grab this, move this over here, and I have a bunch of steel pipe, right? Same idea. I mainly go to my concrete, because when I make platforms, I need a lot of concrete, which actually downstairs, that makes the basic production too. I have a lot of more storage for concrete, just in case. And this is the hub area. And then over here, we have our trophies that I haven't really designed yet. And when we got this, it's supposed to hang over everything. And I'm gonna actually change the design of that because I don't want it to hang over everything, if that makes sense. As you can see, there's a lot of things I need to actually work on, because it's pretty blah right now, very blah. But that's the point, because I'm nowhere close for this base to actually being done yet, so I don't care that it's black. But like over there, it's not even done. Like look at that, it's not even have the design of that. It looks like it's just one big beam, and I don't like that. So I have a lot of stuff to do and work on, and now you can see that I have so much content that I'm gonna do with this series alone, and I'm really excited for my next series when I start making my own completely unique design. But anyways guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have so much I have planned to do. This video is short and it's not a productive video just because I have so much going on this week that I need to go do, and I won't have any time to do it. Check out my other past videos. But anyways, I suck at talking. You can see that they're making this video. I'm getting better. I'm not amazing yet. Anyway guys, I'll talk to you later. Hope you enjoyed this video, and bye bye.